21st century, doing something mean to it, do it better than anybody.
According to the NCAA, rugby is one of the largest and continually growing club sports in the United States, with almost 350 collegiate women's clubs already in existence and 5,000 high school club participants. Although women's rugby is becoming popular and an emerging sport in the NCAA, there are both negative and positive aspects to being a female rugby player. Fallon and Jome found that participation in sports is perceived to be a traditionally masculine activity, and women athletes are assumed to enact the masculine gender role when they pursue athletic activities. These roles that women are expected to fulfill help to create and perpetuate stereotypes, especially about female rugby players. When asked about what stereotypes they have heard about women that play rugby, our interviewees responded with very similar answers.
I get categorized as this dyke that likes to, tackle other girls, but I don't think it's anything like that.
Females in rugby tend to get stereotyped with lesbianism, I guess. But I meet a lot of rugby girls and none of them seem to be lesbian.
A lot of people feel like we're lesbian, so maybe people think that I'm lesbian, so that's about it. But other than that, a lot of people understand this is a rough sport.
Well, they stereotype me as a tomboy, but they also stereotype rugby players as dykes.
I'll hear all of them are big burly women. They're all very masculine.
Yeah, I think there's a big misconception that women that play rugby are just bruisers and brutes and non-feminine, and that's not true. Our girls have both sides of that. They can dress up and look pretty, and then they can get down and bang heads. So they're a good balance of both.
Women's participation in sports is sometimes seen as a social aberration, and women athletes often are assumed to be homosexual because of their violation of traditional gender role behavior.
The object of the game is that two teams, observing fair play according to the laws, should by carrying, passing, kicking and grounding the ball, score as many points as possible.
Wright and Clarke found that women's participation in rugby fundamentally challenges what it means to be male and female. The very absence of women's sports coverage in media, together with the trivialization and sexualization of women's sports when it is covered, constitutes a denial of power for sports women. This denial of power goes beyond sport by constructing women as less powerful and less worthy than men in the wider society. There are observable differences between men and women on the rugby field. This is why some rugby coaches prefer coaching women over men.
I like coaching women's rugby over men's rugby because women tend to think on the field, where guys get caught up in the whole testosterone thing and just want to smash other people's heads. The girls will play tough, but they will also think and strategize. That makes it a lot more fun.
Typically they learn faster, they listen better, and guys are kind of just really stubborn when it comes to learning things. Takes them 20 times to hear something before they actually start implementing. So it's nice teaching women rugby because when you actually coach them, they just pick it up right away.
The wide variation of skills needed for the game mean that there is an opportunity for individuals of every shape, size, and ability to participate.
Although there are stereotypes that categorize female rugby players as big and masculine, Shockley states that
rugby differs from other women's sports because it requires women of different body types for different positions. While top rugby players all maintain extremely high fitness levels, player body types vary dramatically depending on the position they play.
A lot of people think, a rugby player is huge and is strong and can tackle people, but rugby is a sport where you can have different shapes and sizes, and a lot of people are actually surprised that I am a rugby player.
Rugby accepts athletes of all shapes and sizes. This gives women of every body type an opportunity to empower themselves through physical activity. Kate Russell found that participation in sports and physical activities have been shown to have a positive impact on self-esteem. Women who exercise also have a more positive perception of their bodies.
Honestly, I feel like I can just be myself. I'm not afraid to be myself when I'm around rugby players, and then that's made me open up more with other people because I feel like, who cares? Me, like, this is how I'm gonna be. And when I'm around rugby girls, like, they don't care what kind of person you are, if you're awkward or if you're supposedly normal or whatever. They don't care, like, they accept you for you. So I guess that's opened me up. I'm not as quiet anymore. I don't care, like, I mean, accept me for me or not.
I think definitely with my self-confidence, because I remember that first game when I went in to play, and I'm just like so scared to just actually like even touch a girl or like, you know, think of like tackling her. And as soon as I, you know, tackled my first player, I was like, wow, this is really fun. And then like I kind of just carried this certain like confidence in myself.
I'm definitely more confident just with myself and like what I'm able to do. I used to be a lot shyer, and now I don't care for like what other people think of me. Like I just accept who I am.
I think confidence. I never in my like wildest dream would I think that I could like run as much as I do or hit as much as I do. And like I feel like if I can do rugby, I can do anything in my life.
Interviewing women's rugby players provides support for Russell's research on female athletes' self-image. Kate Russell found it important to note that the feelings of confidence that stem from being physically able in the sporting arena did not necessarily end once the sporting performance was completed. Quite often, confidence transferred into other areas of life.
Women's rugby is constantly growing, and although there are stereotypes attached to female rugby players, there are long-term rewards that rugby players obtain.
This video has been made to raise awareness to women's rugby as a competitive sport and the stereotypes that many female athletes have to endure.
Powers, Austin, Powers, lost in translation with a whole